So are the core belts worth it? Let's find out. This with my Milt Sparks holster, beautiful. In front of me, I have basically all my belts. Guess what? For the past month, almost 2 months, the only belt I've worn is the core belt that they sent me to evaluate. And they did not pay me to do this. They said, hey, if you want to try out one of our belts and give a good review, as in an honest review, not a good review as in you have to say good things, we'll provide the belt. Pick out what you want, we'll send it. And, you know, that was quite the compliment. I am a small channel. I am not a big, high volume channel. And that was pretty cool. But it doesn't really color what I'm going to say about the belt. Because if the belt wasn't working, I just would have said, not for me. Didn't do it for me. I wouldn't have said anything negative so much as I just would have said it didn't work out for me. On the other hand, it also would have made this a lot easier because it would not have taken so long. I would have very quickly been done with it. Instead, I have worn this basically every day since I got it. And the more I wear it, the more I like it. Let's talk about the competitors though. So we got the core belt. The one I was using immediately before that is the flexible belt from 511, the Elastic. Now, this is very comfy day to day, but it honestly didn't hold my pants up better. The problem with this is that it flexes, which seems obvious, except that it means that it's only working by tension. If it isn't under sufficient tension, it doesn't work. It doesn't have enough stiffness on its own. It doesn't have enough structure, okay, to create this platform for your pants to hang off of and stay in place, much less any other gear you're wearing on your belt. The previous usual belt, this is a Wilderness Instructor belt, the original Wilderness Instructor belt. This is a very heavy duty belt, but still not a ton of structure. Now, it is much stiffer side to side. It holds gear pretty well. And honestly, when you've got it on, it does create enough structure. It doesn't want to flex this way real well, okay? I mean, I'm bending the belt because it does twist. But if you have it this way, it doesn't bend, right? And I like this belt. I really like this belt. But I didn't need this belt. I actually considered, do I buy the next size down? Because the reason I was shopping for belts was that I had lost weight and I couldn't wear this. It was literally not going tight enough to hold my pants up. I was like, do I just buy another one in the next size down? I could use a belt that's just a casual daily belt that doesn't look like a tactical belt all the time. So that was how I went up with the Elastic. Now it's still tactical, a little in that style, but it was a little less over the top, right? Now, the last belt here, we're not going to talk about the training style belt, first line stuff. It's just there for looks. This is a pure fashion belt, right? This is a Vineyard Vines, their signature look dress belt, and no structure. It has nothing. Like it bends everywhere. Purely looks. Not worth carrying anything with, and honestly doesn't hold your pants up. If your pants require this belt to stay up, you're going to be playing with them all the time. What is different about a core belt? And this is not, let's be honest, this is not specific to core. This is any truly stiff leather belt, not a single layer basic one, but like a real leather carry belt. Next Belts makes things like this. There are a couple other companies, I can't remember them all, but there are a number of companies that make belts like this, even the same general type of mechanism. I think Core does a pretty good job because they've got the style right. They understand their market. I mean, let's face it, they offer a brushed nickel buckle with the state of Texas on it. Like, I mean, they know their market. It is extremely heavy duty. I have previously done a video of how you set this up, but just for quick look here, this end of the belt is actually locked into here, okay? This end of the belt, you've got the ratchet mechanism, okay? I can adjust this belt from here to here in terms of tightness. I actually wear it pretty far out. I wear it like right about there. And the reason for that is simple. I don't like a long tag. This tag fits under the first loop in most of my jeans, and it works. It looks good. This buckle, I have beat the crap out of it. My desk at work, my counter surface that I work at, has a metal edge to it. There are bolts sticking out of it. Like, I lean on things. I am not gentle to this. Looks good. I mean, there's some scratches and scuffs, but it doesn't gouge into the metal. The metal is quality metal. It's hard enough that it survives that abuse. The finish in the state of Texas has held up. It hasn't been, abraded away from casual use. I wanted to wear it long enough that if it was going to go away quickly, I would know about it. The adjustment mechanism, smooth and easy. Taking this belt on and off, no problem. Loosening it, tightening it. All these belts, you can't discreetly tighten or loosen them. You're like loosening Velcro, tightening it, putting it back. You're adding a whole, spot in the belt. This, you're sitting there at lunch and you're like, ooh, I really overate. Pop, slide, one spot. That's a 1/4 inch. Just loose enough that you're like, okay, it feels good, right? You're sitting down, you ate lunch. When you stand back up, you're probably going to go back in a click. But right then, it's way more comfy. It works. I do it all the time at work. If I'm just feeling a little heavy that day, out one click. Feeling skinny that day, in a click. So much easier. Now, something that doesn't seem to get talked about on these belts, and this is a feature that I like and I dislike. I like it when your belt is all properly positioned and you're good to go and you're going on with life. I don't like it when I'm trying to make changes in the belt position. And that is simple. This inner layer is slightly tacky. It has a texture to it and a little bit of compression to it. I don't even know how to describe it. It's not sticky. It's not tacky in that sense, but like it's a high friction surface. So when you've tightened it in place on your belt or on your pants, it doesn't easily slide around. And the consequences of that are, if you've got this in place on your body and you want to shift it to straighten it out, it's not always the easiest thing in the world. If you want to take this off, you've loosened this, right, and you're just pulling this through, you can't just go yank, okay? There's friction there. Now, if you're trying to keep carry gun, maybe a belt pouch or something in place, this is great. It stays. Everything stays where you put it. But it does make those little adjustments. Say you went to the bathroom and you're getting your pants back in place and you're trying to make sure your shirt's tucked in properly and everything and line everything back up. Yeah. I mean, you got to play with it a little bit more than you might. But overall, I think that is a feature that is underdone. I think that not enough companies do that. Because when you're carrying, you don't want it to move. You want to set your rig up and have everything stay in place. That's what you get with the core belt. You get a belt that does its job to the nines. It is absolutely locked in, stiff. I mean, this is the only one of these belts that doesn't give real, like it's got some structure and some body to it. The outer layer here is the nylon. That's for appearances. The inner body is the same solid, heavy-duty construction they always use. So you're not dealing with the fact that the nylon webbing is not structural. You have a structural belt with the nylon webbing over top of it. Now, that leads to my only significant complaint, and that is that the outer edge of this nylon is pretty crisp. They cinch that down real tight, right? And when you are, messing around with your pants, you're trying to tuck something in, it's pretty crisp. I gotta say, like, I've scratched my hand on that. But, you know, really, I mean, we're talking nitpicks here. That is my thought on the core belt. Absolutely. For the money, I think they are hard to beat for what they're intended to be. If you're looking for a pure fashion belt, these aren't it. If you're looking for a very fashionable carry belt, talk to one of the custom leather makers. Milt Sparks, Mitch Rosen, Kirkpatrick Leather are my default choices, but there's lots of them out there. And get a double layer stitched heavy duty gun belt with a nice buckle. And it will look very pretty. You can get stitching and inlays and all that jazz. Okay, you can go as fancy and beautiful as you want or very basic. But it's going to cost you $200 or more by the time you're done. Let's face it, on a day-to-day basis, most of us, this is the better belt. The leather belt, okay, it's about to be 110 degrees in Texas on a daily basis. A leather belt is not going to survive long. You're going to sweat through it. You are going to roast it. It's going to get sun exposure and crack on the surface. Like, you're really going to beat on it. This is going to survive way better at way lower cost. It's going to have, and I've had good leather belts. This is still stronger. This is still stiffer. This is still a better tool for the job. This is a cross between a full-on tactical belt and an EDC belt, a day-to-day, and I mean that literally everyday carry. The carry is almost the secondary part of this. It's every day that you're wearing this, whether you're carrying or not. I haven't carried most of the times I've been wearing this. In fact, I've only carried in this a few times, to be honest, because I don't carry every day. Where I live, where I work, my life, it's really not a thing. But when I do carry, I haven't had any problems. This has worked way better than this last hack did. And honestly, I think it worked better than the original instructor belt, the original instructor belt. Both of them worked, and the original Wilderness instructor belt worked better than the last hack. This, it took some getting used to because this material really doesn't flex a whole lot in the short form. Like it, like it's holding its shape pretty well. The weaving in and out of a buckle or the loops on a holster, tricky. But my inside the waistband holster has external loops. I'm not going through a pancake holster, for example. Freaking awesome. This with my Milt Sparks holster, beautiful. That is my opinion on the core belt. That is my review of the core belt after wearing it for quite a while. I will be continuing to wear it. Anyway, take care, have fun, stay safe, everybody, and keep shooting.